Hey guys, my name's Emily and welcome to my channel. So as you can tell by the title of this video, I decided to talk about how I became a fan of R5. If you don't know who R5 are or you want to learn more about them, I'll leave all their links in the description below. They're a really great band, which is why I'm a fan of them. So I'm essentially just going to be talking about how I became a fan in the first place and why I've like stuck around, because there's been bands where, you know, I've become a fan of them, but then I kind of fade. But them, I haven't. So yeah, I'm just going to be kind of explaining how I became a fan and my journey as a R5er, or a member of the R5 family, if you will. So it all started with the premiere of the Disney Channel show Austin and Ally. The main character, Austin, one of the main characters I guess, the actor who plays him is named Ross Lynch, and he is part of R5. So when the premiere happened, this was back in 2012, January of 2012, I was very attracted to Ross, so I wanted to learn more about him. So I googled him, and I found out he was part of this band called R5 with the rest of his family. So I decided, oh, you know what, I'll just kind of check them out, you know. This was at like a time in my life where I wasn't a huge fangirl yet. There wasn't like a lot of people that I was like a massive fan of. So for me, checking out bands was kind of a new thing. So I go to their website and I'm checking out some of their videos, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, like I'm just kind of getting my groundings on who they are as like people, and I found out they're all siblings, except for Ellington Ratliff, who's their drummer. So I'm just kind of like checking them out, you know. The next day rolls around, I'm like, oh, you know, I'll check them out a little bit more. And before I knew it, I was a massive fan, and I didn't realize that my life was going to be changed forever. So I made a Twitter account for them, which is the Twitter I leave down below. I have like my own personal Twitter, but like that's like for people from school, and I just don't use it. So I'm leaving that one down below. So I made a Twitter for them. My original username was, I think it was like Emily Lynch 13 or something, and I would tweet off that like non-stop. Like that's kind of where I was really on Twitter. So throughout 2012 until about, I want to say, April, I was like all about R5. I was like, everything about them was just like, it was my life. But then around April, I had discovered a new band called One Direction. You might have heard about them. I'll explain that whole story as to how I became a fan of them, and I have a million stories with them later on. But for now, that band kind of took up most of my time. I kind of took a break from R5. Now, this was a time where I literally was never on that Twitter account. I made a different Twitter account for One Direction that I was on a lot more, and I just wasn't really listening to R5. I don't know, I just wasn't. I was still a fan of them, don't get me wrong, I still was a fan. There was a new band now. I was slowly turning into the fangirl I am today, so right now, One Direction was kind of like my thing. So as time goes on, now it's around, I want to say, early October of 2012. And I just happened to be scrolling through Facebook. I literally just happened to be scrolling. Like, it's not even like, I don't know, I was never really on Facebook that much. But this was a time where I was like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna go on. I had liked the Ross Lynch, like, Facebook page. Him or whoever it was, management, I don't know, had put out a sign that said, R5 is coming to Madison, as in Madison, Wisconsin, where I am from and I live. So I thought, oh, like this would be kind of fun. Like at that point, I'd only been to maybe 1 or 2 concerts. I really haven't been to a lot of concerts, so I was like, oh, you know, maybe it might be fun. So I asked my parents, they're like, oh yeah, sure. Well, we didn't really get to look at tickets. The concert was on November 18th. We didn't really get to look at tickets until, I would say, really late October, because we just, I don't know, never got around to it. When we went on the website, they were all sold out, and I was upset, sure, but I wasn't like completely bummed out. Like I wasn't, you know, really upset, because like, again, I was a fan of them, but it wasn't a point in my life where I was like all about them, you know? I was gonna go with my friend. So my friend's dad, he's very good at getting deals on things and finding like the best prices. I don't know how he does it, but he's really good at it. So he had found tickets to the show online, and at this point I was like, I got really excited. He got the tickets and I was like, okay, this is gonna be like really, really fun. I'm really excited for this. So finally the concert day came around. And again, before this I hadn't been to very many concerts. So like, you know when you're at a concert and you're like anticipating the artist to come out and there's all this excitement in the room? I mean, I felt that, but like, I wasn't as excited as it would be now because I didn't really get concerts at the time. Now I do, been to a million, but like, at the time I didn't. Keep in mind, the first time I saw R5, it was literally a room full of 50 people. It was at this super sketchy venue called The Loft, which isn't even, I don't even think it's in use anymore. We had to wait behind the building to like get in line. So we walk in, I didn't realize we were like really close. Like I was 2 rows. So the concert starts with their opening act, I don't even remember who it was. And then now we're waiting for R5. And I'm really excited. I'm like, oh, this is actually like very exciting. Like I'm actually gonna see, to be honest, I was most excited to see Ross. Now I'm most excited to see all of them, but at the time, you know, Ross was the person who I discovered R5 through, so I mean, I was most excited to see him. And then the time comes. And they literally just like walk out on stage. It's not even like now they have like this massive like introduction, and like the last concert I went to, they had like strobe lights and they were behind a curtain. It was the Sometime Last Night tour. Like, it was like this insane thing. But for this concert, they literally just like walked out. I mean, they started like playing music backstage, like on their instruments, but like it was so like casual, and I kind of miss that. Like that was just, looking back on it, it's so great to like have that experience. They walk out, and I scream very loudly. I remember Ratliff was the first one to walk out, and then they all came, and I was like freaking out. And that is when I really became a fan of R5. I thought in the beginning, when I first found them out, I would never be a bigger fan of them than at that moment in my life. But that was the turning point. That was where, after the concert, I was like, why did I just stop? Like, yeah, I can be a fan of both One Direction and R5, but why did I just stop being a fan of R5? Like, I really, really loved them. So after the show, they did a signing. And this is when R5 still did signings. They don't do them anymore because they have like, you know, huge crowds. But this is when they did their signings. So I remember like freaking out, like, oh, what, I need to have them sign something. Like, oh, I should have them like sign my phone case. I should have them like sign my shirt. Like, I don't know. But I knew they had merchandise like being sold. And Ryland was the one back behind the merchandise table like selling it. I was like, oh, maybe I should get a poster, and I'll splurge in a little picture of the poster I have. And that was when I started this tradition that whenever I go to an R5 concert, I tell Ryland I like his hat. I bought the poster, and I was like, this is my only chance I'm ever gonna be able to talk to Ryland. I mean, I didn't know I'd, you know, go to other concerts, but like before that, I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to ever talk to him again. So I mustered up the courage, and I was like, okay, here we go. And I looked at him, and I was like, hey, Ryland. And he turned around. I was like, I like your hat. And he was like, oh, thanks. And it's such a little moment, but for me, I was like, oh my god. Oh my god, I just talked to Ryland. Like, I was freaking out. So then it was time to officially meet R5, kind of. It's like, I kind of say like I met them, but like, it was a signing. I don't know. So Riker was first in the line, and I remember he was giving out high fives at the end of the show, and I was just far enough back where like I couldn't reach him. So I remember telling him, I was like, you know, you were giving high fives out to like everyone in the crowd, but I was just far enough back where I couldn't get one. And then he lifted his hand up, and I like, the way I high-fived him was not the way you high-five someone. Like, he put his hand up like this, and I literally went like, oh, like, what was I doing? Like, oh, it was just, it's cringeworthy, but like, we're moving on. So next in line was Rocky, and he called me dude. That was all I was just like, oh my god, Rocky called me dude. Like, that's no big deal, but like, to me it was. I don't know. So next in line was Ross. Now, this was my moment to shine, and I was really, really excited. And I don't remember exactly what I said. I think it was along the lines, actually, I don't know what I said to Ross. I think I was just so like, oh my god, it's my celebrity crush, that I just kind of was just like, hi, my name's Emily. Like, I don't know, it was just, I don't know what I said. But this is what I remember next. So next was Rydell, and next to her was Ellington, or Ratliff. I remember I told Rydell, I was like, Rydell, you've tweeted me twice before, and Ratliff, you tweeted me once before too. And I don't know why that was the first thing that came to my mind, but it was. Rydell was like, oh really, what's your Twitter name? And I was like, oh, it's Emily Lynch 13. Like, oh yeah, like I was really excited to tell her that. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but somehow Ross got in the conversation and I was like, yeah, but you've never tweeted me before. He's like, oh, well, I'll make sure to tweet you then. Guess what, Ross? You still haven't tweeted me, so, you know, it's been like, you know, almost 5 years. I just think it's funny that like Ross told me like, oh yeah, I'll tweet you, like, and I knew he wasn't going to, like, how the heck would he remember that? But I just thought it was funny. So my friend's dad drove us back home, and I remember getting in the car and I literally wouldn't shut up because I was so excited that this was happening. Like, I just met my idols. Like, this actually just happened. And that's kind of where my R5 love came to be. So I guess that is it for this video. Down the line I will be kind of sharing story times of other R5 concerts that I've been to. But the March 2013 one, so that was only 4 months later, that was where I had a meet and greet for R5. And I'll be explaining that one because that one, like, so many things happened on that day. That one I will be definitely doing a story time for. But otherwise I think that's it for this video. If you want more stories like this, there are plenty of bands that I can explain how I became a fan of them. So I guess that's everything for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!